Hello everyone, this is a review on the Swann Sky Eye. It's a remote control helicopter that also takes videos and will take pictures. So we're going to see how it works, see if this is maybe the right thing for you, and even demonstrate what some of the videos actually look like coming from the Swann Sky Eye. Okay, the Swann Sky Eye takes a fair amount of room to fly, but it also doesn't do very well in wind if you're outside. So we're going to do this indoors and see what kind of effect we have. So, if you've ever flown a remote control helicopter, you know they can be a bit of a challenge. So at their best, a remote control helicopter is not like a hummingbird. At their worst, they're like an out-of-control bat. So keep that in mind. Okay, in addition to using the Swann Sky Eye, I've also used some other remote control helicopters like the SEMA 107. Now, the difference between the two is pretty significant. The SEMA 107 is probably half the size, but it actually is a little easier to fly. And I think it's because the design on the SEMA has an open rear rotor compared to a closed rear rotor on the Swann Sky Eye. I'm not a aerospace engineer or aeronautical engineer, but it seems to me that going forward and backwards, the Swann Sky Eye isn't quite as responsive as the SEMA 107. Now, it could be due to size issues, but it could also be because this rotor is a little bit more enclosed, and it makes it a little bit more difficult. Now, it does do a very good job steering left to right, but going forward and backwards, I've had some issues with it. Now, one of the primary features of the Swann Sky Eye is right there. It's a little difficult to see, but right here we actually have a camera, and we'll see the video coverage of it here in a second for some flying I did outside. This gives you the ability to get some bird eye view of the scenery outside, or wherever you're taking videos or just snapshots. So that is the primary feature of the helicopter, and it's the reason why you pay a little bit more money than you would for a standard 1/40th scale remote control helicopter. So that's a real nice thing, and it does work rather well. Okay, the Swann Sky Eye comes with 512 megs of built-in memory, and you know you're actually recording, and it's going to be difficult to see, but inside the cockpit, right there, a little blue light comes on, and that means that you're actually recording. So you turn that blue light on, and the blue light's off, and that's how you know if you're actually recording with the Swann Sky Eye. Okay, taking the captions off of the Swann Sky Eye is as easy as doing off a regular camera. You take the enclosed cable that comes with it, you plug it in underneath, and you have the helicopter on. You plug it in underneath, and then you simply stick the other part of the USB into your computer. And then from there you go into the video file, and you can drag whatever videos you have onto your computer. So pretty straightforward, just like a flip camera or most other cameras that are out there. Okay, charging the Sky Eye. You have a regular adapter here that plugs into a wall. Now, a full charge will take you 70 to 80 minutes. Now, it's important that you don't leave it on overnight and leave it charging. The Swann recommends that you don't charge it ever for more than 90 minutes, or you'll start to damage the battery. They also state that there's a light that changes whenever you're done, whenever the helicopter is done charging. But I've not found this light anywhere, so keep that in mind. Just set a timer on your iPod or iPhone or whatever device you have to remind you that after 90 minutes you need to get it off the charge. Now, once it's fully charged, you can get anywhere from 7 to 10 minutes of full airtime before you'll need to put it away and get it charged back up. So keep that in mind in terms of how long you need to charge it. Okay, now this is the remote control for the Swann Sky Eye. Now, how it works is this is obviously up and down. This is power, and you can see when you do this what percentage of the power you're giving it. This right here is left and right. So this actually stops the rear rotor when you go right or left, and then up or down will change direction of the rear rotor so that you can go in forward or back. On the upper right hand side you have the trim button, and what the trim does is it helps sync the rear rotor with the top rotor, and that way it will that will prevent you from drifting left or right, so you can get the trim set up. And then the gyro button here will help you adjust the speed faster or slower in the rear rotor to make it more or less responsive. So the remote control takes 6 AA batteries, which is probably pretty standard. Now one thing that is a bit problematic, and I'll try to show you, is that I've already had some problems, and I've used this just a few times, where the antenna's already broken in 2 different spots. So probably an isolated incident with my unit, but I have noticed that the remote control antenna does have some issues with it. Overall, the range on the remote is pretty well. Once you probably get about 100 feet away, thereabouts, you will find that it will you'll lose, and your helicopter will suddenly drop out of the sky. So make sure you don't get outside of the range of the remote.